The thought of getting a degree can be straight up terrifying. We get it. But Southern New Hampshire University makes it easier than you'd think. They have over 200 degrees you can earn online. No set class times, so your social life stays alive and well. And low online tuition that won't scare your bank account. College doesn't have to be a horror story. Visit snhu.edu/lastpodcast to get started. That's snhu.edu/lastpodcast.
Hey, what's up, subscribers? Welcome back to the channel. So which variety of Dunkin' at-home coffee is your fave? Original blend, French vanilla, or hazelnut? Drop a comment.
What are you?
Oh, this is what I do when I'm home alone.
Drink Dunkin' Original Blend or pretend you're an influencer?
Both. Want a cup? Hey, let's do a taste test for the audience.
Okay, how's this? The rich, smooth taste of Dunkin' at home is unmatched.
Nice. You're a natural.
The home with Dunkin' is where you want to be.
There's no place to escape to.
This is the last podcast.
On the left. That's when the cannibalism started.
What was that?
In a while, in my hair repair.
I am Wasago.
So you guys both have vampire teeth in.
No, I don't have vampire
funny.
teeth in. These are my real teeth.
these are your real...
Oh, God.
See, this is why I didn't use it, because they cut my gums.
Yeah, they're cutting up my gums pretty bad right now.
That's what's nice about them. They make vampire food.
It makes you want to have some Hardee's.
I gotta take those out. They taste bad too.
Yeah, they taste like plastic. It tastes like I was chewing on a straw.
No, I tasted like I got poisoned just a little bit.
Yeah.
Whoa, it says right here, straight from Wuhan.
Yeah.
Which I love to see. Well, I love a good old-fashioned Wuhan petroleum.
My old pangolin biters.
Welcome to the last podcast on the left, ladies and gentlemen. My name is Marcus Parks. I'm here with the unusually cautious Henry Zabrowski today.
Yeah, I know how to watch myself. Hey, it's me, Terrence, the lead singer from Stain. Yeah, and I gotta tell you, it's been a while since I could hold my head up high, but mostly just because I got scoliosis from looking at my phone.
And we have the brave first to put the vampire teeth in his mouth, Ed Larson.
That's right. I put the vampire teeth in my mouth, and I got the stains on my pants in honor of Stained. Yes, they are worth the cum on my pants.
Your pants are stained.
And Stained, of course, came into our head because we are entrenched in the mid to late 90s right now.
Trench-coated.
Yes, trench-coated, yes. Because we are here at the conclusion to our series on the Kentucky Teenage Vampire Clan Murders.
Wow. That's a lot of words.
Part 3 of the Vampire Saga. The deepest, darkest Vampire Saga that any man has ever dared try.
Now, before we begin, I'd like to read an email from a listener who is a massive Vampire the Masquerade enthusiast.
VTM, please.
Cool.
Yes, VTM. And I'd like, you know what? I didn't even think about... Yeah, VTM. Okay, that's great.
Yep.
Because I've been so sick of typing out Vampire the Masquerade over and over again.
You're released, my friend.
Yeah.
Well, I'd like to read this email for two reasons. First, I think it'll help everyone understand just how deeply some of these players can fall into their personas. And secondly, and perhaps more importantly, I'd like everyone to see what these people get up to when they're isolated. Which, if the satanic panickers are right... When they're isolated, that would be when all the child sacrifice and all the devil worship would occur, when all the really dark things, the bathing in blood.
Yeah, it's because they get shy.
Yeah.
Sacrifice like nobody's watching.
Yeah.
But that, of course, is not the case. Here's the email. One of my friends used to participate in a massive vampire LARP. Once or twice a year, about 50 people would rent a castle and pretend to be Dark Ages vampires for a weekend, complete with acting out historical moments in the lore.
Vampire.
Lore, I would imagine when they say in the lore, I would imagine that would be Vampire the Masquerade
Very much
lore,
so.
yes. This included a man only referred to as Naked Dave, who refused to wear clothes for the entire weekend.
It's my character.
That's what it is. It is his character.
Yeah, the only issue was Naked Dave's wife didn't like that he was naked the whole weekend, and she especially didn't like that once corralled into clothes, he'd make any excuse to get naked again.
He's wearing a cape.
Don't marry a man with the legal name of Naked Dave.
Is someone trying to do a seminar on torturing mortals? Naked Dave will volunteer.
I'm right there.
But only if he can be naked while doing it.
My neck's out. Come on, let me see. Let me sit on my balls in front of everyone.
It was also common for people to have loud, kinky sex. Usually there was a part of the castle that was roped off to be the 18-plus section where people would participate in BDSM and character.
They have to have that.
They have to have that, of course. They're consenting adults. They're allowed.
It's a vampire castle weekend.
A rope doesn't really stop young kids from watching.
Well, I think maybe a rope, and maybe there's a room between the room, and there's a bouncer.
All I know is,
bouncer.
where you
like-
is a vampire. And the best part about it being roped off, they can then use the ropes to torture each other.
Yeah.
Well, they're lucky the wolf cops didn't show up.
Continuing.
They are indeed.
One year, they had to ban the bringing of sex toys to the non-sexy areas of the LARP because some guy kept throwing dildos at other people, claiming to use his flesh crafting skills to pull his own penis off and hurl it at people he didn't like.
It's in the lore. It's in the book. Like, it holds.
And finally, once there was a character who had a phobia of fire. She would scream and cry if she sat too close to a lit candle. The other players ended up yelling fire at her so much that they had to create a rule where if it was a real fire, you had to yell real fire and raise your hand to show you weren't in character.
And that is how being a nerd can kill you. Because it's true.
That's
like,
Vampire the Masquerade.
very much so. And the idea of someone staying in character is encouraged. And it really is. I saw many letters talking about our coverage and said the one thing that most people that were like decades long people that have been playing VTM they all expressed their jealousy of the Kentucky vampires and their ability to just let
be in
go
there.
and let vampires.
It's a lot easier when there's nothing else to do.
Yes.
Yeah.
You think that if they had like a wooden dildo, it could be like a stake. Would it affect the woman if because I know the stake has to go through the heart. But
Has
if the
to.
stake goes through the vagina, fine.
Vampires actually can't experience orgasms. They can't have natural sex.
Then
The
why
only
do
way
they fuck all the time?
They don't fuck all the time. Well, they normally play to seduce you in order to get the blood voluntarily, depending on their feeding style.
So they're playing on our horniness?
Yes.
Oh, yeah, that's the whole thing about vampires. That's why vampires are sexy, is because they use their sexiness to lure mortals in so they can drain us of our lifeblood.
Vampires can only experience certain things by drinking the blood of those that are also doing it. So if they wanted to feel an orgasm, they could literally jerk somebody off while drinking their blood. And if they come while they're drinking their blood, they could feel the orgasm. Or that's why certain vampires really concentrate on those that are drug users or ones that have already been out all night raving. That's what all those guys do in Blade. What they were doing is that they're all on drugs, and then the drugs is in the blood, and it's the only way that vampires can feel drugs is by drinking blood that has drugs in it.
You asked. That's the lore. I'm sorry I asked. That's the lore. But it's part of the show.
So when we last left the Kentucky Teenage Vampire Clan, Rod Ferrell had found himself on the outs with the majority of Murray, Kentucky's vampire population, which this, of course, had earned him a soft ban from the ancient vampiric hangout that was the local Hardys.
What will I do without my ancestral home?
Yes. Can we paint the White Castle black?
So instead of hanging out with the improv kids from Murray State or hanging out with Stephen Murphy's clan, Rod found himself with a far smaller vampiric crew in Kentucky, comprised mostly of his 15-year-old girlfriend Charity and his two childhood friends, Matt Goodman and Scott Anderson. And there were also a couple of other guys that seemed to kind of come in and out of the vampiric clan, but this is the core group right here.
Oh no, I read a Reddit AMA from somebody that was a part of the fledgling crew before they went down to Florida. That was a little girl when this was all happening that was in their crew, and she
little girl, like a teenager.
Yeah, and she basically was like,
Well, she's thousands of years old.
thank you, Eddie. And she's-
So it's like Kirsten Dunst in Interview with the Vampire, like that?
Yeah.
It's legal. That's what it means. It's totally legal. But no, she basically said, but I'm just going to say that she might also be in sort of the still needing attention estate.
Yeah.
Because she was saying she's definitely a vampire, and Rod was absolutely a vampire and convinced her that she was a vampire.
Hold on. Are you saying that people who do AMAs need attention?
I just took the biggest dump of my life. Ask me anything. How big was it? It was big.
Yeah. Was it brown?
Yeah, like reddish.
Wow.
Touched the bottom of the toilet. It was still in my butt.
What kind of red? Was it bright red or was it dark red?
Dark red like clay.
That's bad, dude. That's cancer.
Oh!
Ask me anything, I'll give you bad news.
But perhaps because Rod's crew in Kentucky was shrinking, Rod was, during the summer and fall of 1996, doing his level best to tighten his grip on the two girls down in Eustis, Florida, that he and Scott Anderson were still talking to on the phone for hours at a time. Those girls were Heather Wendorf and Janine LeClaire, both 15 years old. See, Heather and Janine had both fallen for the fantasy that the 16-year-old Rod Ferrell was a 500-year-old vampire named Visago. But Heather had bought into the fantasy far harder than Janine had. This was perhaps because Heather had just met Rod the year before, while Janine had known Rod since the second grade.
Yeah, I knew him when he was playing kickball. He ain't no vampire. I saw him as a child.
You remember a kid like getting beat up until he pissed his pants? You can't believe he's a vampire.
No, unless, of course, it happened at night. And it was being done by Prometheus Unbound. Which is, I found out there is a Frankenstein RPG as well.
Oh, hell yeah.
You play different types of non-people people. Like a golem or a homunculus or a construction or a doctor.
Hell yeah. If I'm a homunculus, can I be made completely of semen?
You better be.
Hell yeah.
What about like an Igor? Can you be an Igor?
Yeah, sure.
I just want to help people out.
I mean, yeah, you just like to work.
Would you like a lamb?
I don't have the budget for an associate producer.
More crackers?
But in addition to pretending to believe Rod's story, Heather Wendorf had also begun pretending that she had her own dark past to match Rod's fantasy that his grandfather had molested him multiple times in a series of occult rituals featuring other dirty old men.
Oh, yeah.
I want some of that. Heather began telling Rod during their 8-hour-long phone conversations that her parents were also evil and that her father was also molesting her. All of this, of course, was just an extension of Heather's personal fantasies and had no grounding in fact. But since Heather was such a believer in Rod's bullshit, and because the people of Murray were starting to become less receptive to Rod's status as a vampire lord because he no longer had access to Hardee's...
Bring me back the center of my power! These tater tots will not be ripped from my Dracul-like claws!
Because of all this, Rod began inching closer and closer towards integrating his Kentucky clan with his Florida clan, with murderous results.
God, I can't believe this is still worse. When you say Kentucky clan and Florida clan, I can only think of the actual clan.
See, I got to see the K.
Yeah.
Yeah, you do have to see the K to really get there.
Got to.
Yeah.
Got to.
Now, before Rod Ferrell took the step to head down to Florida to bring his two vampire crews together, he managed to pick up another member for his Kentucky vampire clan. And this member might just be the saddest person in this story outside of Rod's mother, Sandra. The final member of Rod's Kentucky crew, who joined just 3 months before the murders, was 19-year-old Dana Lynn Cooper. See, even though Dana was years older than everyone else, she'd become close to Rod's 15-year-old girlfriend, Charity.
How you doing, champion? How you doing? It's nice to see you, champion girl.
And even though Rod didn't really like Dana at first, he changed his opinion when he discovered that Dana had her own apartment.
Ooh.
Yes, this vampire cult leader needs access to a washer dryer.
Very much so, my undergarments. I'm deeply sullied by the dirt of the dead.
And so, using Dana's apartment as his new base of operations, Rod took his Kentucky clan on regular trips down to the local cemetery where they would drink each other's blood to, quote, bond their souls together while asking ancient spirits questions that would be answered through automatic writing.
Tell me, so is Elvis still alive?
Yep.
Cool. So is Martin Luther King Jr., is he still alive? Yep.
Yeah, he's a vampire.
Yeah, okay. Oh, all right. What else? What else? Should I, find something else to do? Should I, find a new goal in life? Absolutely, the second you can. Ignoring that.
And to further give himself an air of authority, Rod began binding his clan towards him through shared activities that represented an us versus them mentality.
In that Reddit AMA, they did say they did not go 3 days without sucking each other's blood.
Jesus.
Ugh, real gross.
See, it was easy for Rod to get his fellow vampires to abandon the real world because they'd pretty much already done that by the time they met him.
Let's just say the real world was already saying goodbye to them.
Yeah. But it was far more difficult to isolate them from the other local Goths. But instead of treading the dangerous waters of going into Hardy's to challenge Stephen Murphy's rival vampire clan directly, Rod would take his group to the woods behind Hardy's.
My God, we can see nothing outside around the dumpster. We storm at dawn. Wait, they're closed.
They're right there. Yeah, well, we'll wait till 9 a.m.
When is breakfast?
When the woods
10:30. This is horseshit.
When the woods behind Hardy's, they would perform magical spells that would be cast against the other clan. They would also spend time casting magical spells against the improv group at Murray State University.
Zip! Zap! Zap! Zip! Zap! Zap! Take that, Calamity Brothers!
Now, Rod Ferrell was one of those people who instinctively knew how to run a cult. Although, like I said, this was far more of a friend group that got out of control than a satanic coven. But even so, Rod still used the same techniques that cult leaders use to control their followers. He just went about it like a 16-year-old boy. Or he just went about it like a 16-year-old boy would go about it.
Yeah, that was kind of Italian.
Yeah, it is a 16-year-old boy would go about it.
Hey, all right, go. You know how he's 16, he had a sex with my daughter, and then next thing you know, I kick him out, he make us have a priest. He had a sex with my son.
It's because he had a tiny coffee in his hand. He just turned Italian.
Actually, yeah, I have a bit of espresso, you know? Or a latte, or you want to bake a guy some warmer milk? Is that what do you want with a latte? I'm a real man to drink a cappuccino.
I love this.
Well, for example, Rod would tell his clan that while the end of the world was indeed coming, his clan was going to survive because each of them represented a necessary element that would forge the world that was to come afterward. Charity was fire. Heather was air. Scott was water.
Oh, yeah.
But Rod, instead of being earth, douchily chose to be void.
That doesn't make any sense.
Fire, air, water, void.
The Earth doesn't need void. That's what gets rid of the Earth.
Void is useless.
No, the Earth needs void in this new world that we shall forge. We shall not be on Earth. We shall be in the void like all of our souls have been before we came to be teenage boys in Kentucky.
The Earth is way more important to the Earth.
Yeah, it is,
than
but the void is more important to the vampire. It sounds like somebody's not a true fucking vampire.
The vampire lives in the fucking Earth. Sleeps in the goddamn Earth. It has to have fucking its own dirt in its casket. It literally specifically sleeps in dirt.
Listen, man, we're not playing Captain Planet the Masquerade. We're playing Vampire the Masquerade. There's a void. I'm talking with the rules.
But the cult technique that Rod instinctively knew here involved Dana. See, Dana was the one with the apartment.
The apartment.
She technically held more power than Rod held because Dana was an adult.
Yeah, she had a literal door she could close.
And a box of dildos.
Yeah. Well, to bring her down low to a point where she needed to seek Rod's approval, Rod declined to give Dana an element.
Oh.
Which implied that she could do something to earn one.
Okay, how about suck?
If I can be an element, then suck can be an element.
It doesn't make... Actually, no, because, no. Okay? I'm void, which means,
Yeah, and I'm suck.
I just...
Suck's kind of like love. That's the fifth element.
I make the rules. I'm Visago.
That's fine. Now, in early November 1996, Rod began feeling the tiniest bit of legal heat. In the weeks before Thanksgiving, the sheriff of Murray, Kentucky, questioned Rod about the animal cruelty we discussed last episode, where Rod had allegedly kidnapped dogs from the local animal shelter and killed them. Now, even though everyone in town was convinced that it was them vampire kids what done it, there had been no hard evidence leading the police to believe that Rod specifically had been responsible for the death and mutilation of the dogs.
Yeah, it's a false flag.
Yeah, but sometime around Halloween, it seems, something happened in Rod's clan that caused one of his people to turn coat. See, as I said last time, Rod was careful to keep the animal cruelty to certain members. And as it turned out, he was right to do so.
Is it cool if I kill dogs?
Just a dry run. It's just a hypothetical.
So if I went out and I kicked a bunch of dogs, would it bother you?
It really depends. Are they shaped like footballs? Are you drunk?
Hell yeah, let's go kick some fucking dogs.
Well, in early November, Rod's childhood friend and fellow Vampire Clan member Matt Goodman, known as Damien in the clan, he witnessed Rod kicking and slamming a beagle into a tree. This action greatly disturbed Matt, who was either an animal lover or had simply been frightened by Rod's violence.
He honestly might have been one of those people in VTM that only feed upon the sleeping and the unaware.
What does that have to do with kicking a dog?
Well, the idea that he would look down upon the gathering of manna from a living creature.
Ah, I see. But if someone's sleeping, they're still living, though. Additionally, Rod was becoming more free with his threats to kill other people, and he'd been talking a lot about how he'd already killed someone in the past. So Matt Goodman called the Crime Stoppers hotline and left a tip that Rod Ferrell was probably the one who killed the dogs, and he may possibly be a murderer of humans as well. Maybe
Hello.
look into the guy.
Hello, this is a call from Count Damien. I'm calling to tell you stop a crime. I'm calling to tell you the dogs are not sane.
Well, Matt Goodman, after this, he fucking bounced from Rod's vampire clan. And luckily for Matt, that meant that he missed everything that was about to happen with the murders by just a few weeks.
That's the key.
Yeah.
He was in just long enough to suck some blood, maybe see some vampire titties from his fucking friends.
Maybe.
And then he got out.
He did. And there was another kid, too, that was hanging out with him, and he got sent to a drug treatment center 3 days before they went to Florida.
Best thing that ever happened to that fucking kid.
Oh, yeah.
Where's his AMA?
Yeah.
Well, I saw him do an AMA by the railroad tracks in one of those documentaries.
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
Now, even though Matt Goodman missed being a party to the double murder down in Florida, it was quite possible that his phone call to the police was what inspired Rod to finally leave town with the rest of his vampire clan. See, Rod was starting to feel the heat surrounding the animal cruelty investigations. Because while he, of course, hadn't killed anyone yet, he had killed a lot of animals. But since Rod was, to put it simply, a bitch who couldn't handle even the slightest amount of pressure, he started thinking about leaving. Now, at the same time, down in Florida, Janine LeClaire's mother had discovered all of Janine's so-called occult witchcraft accoutrement.
Oh, that poor pile of stuff from fucking Spencer's getting thrown out is so sad.
What happened to the fingers on these gloves?
Have you been selling them for drugs? Have you been cutting the fingers off of your gloves and selling them for drugs?
Are you using them as condoms? This is not going to work. There's holes in the netting.
Be with a man with a bigger penis. That's how I met your father.
Who paid for all these studs on this belt?
Is each one of these a man you've fallen with your penis and vagina?
This wallet doesn't need a chain.
Well, Janine's mother subsequently called Heather Wendorf's mother to issue a warning that Heather may have also fallen under the devil's influence. Once these two events came together, Rod told Janine and Heather over the phone to pack their bags and prepare to leave, because Rod was finally coming with his Kentucky vampire clan to get them both and whisk everyone away to the vampire's paradise that is New Orleans, Louisiana.
Woo! And I bet they are going to be, the vampire community of NOLA is going to welcome them with open arms. And when they get down there in their French chariots and they go down to Les Villes Collaisons, they go down, they get themselves some nice catfish friend. They get themselves some gumball there, son. Yeah, man. Woo, they're going to love you down there. They're not going to fucking kill you one by one.
Yeah, man. These taints are about to march in.
Now, Rod says that he did not go down to Florida with the express purpose of killing Heather's parents.
But while you're there.
Yeah. But he did tell his Kentucky vampire clan that Heather was in trouble, and they therefore all had to get to Eustis as fast as possible to save her.
Okay, awesome. So let's all turn into bats. I'm sick. Okay, so let's all turn into wolves? I got allergies. I thought I could turn this money into a bus ticket. The most one-bodied activity of all.
Well, to give all of this a sense of urgency, Rod described Heather's parents to the rest of the clan as absolute monsters. Snooty rich folk on par with the greedy and selfish European aristocracy that Rod had dealt with when he, as Vasago, had lived in France so many centuries before.
Yeah, we know all the oligarchs in Eustis.
Oh, very much so. And do you know that in France, they eat cheese like it's soup. Big bowls of it. And they put the bread on little forks and the fruit on little forks. And they eat it like it's some kind of stiff soup.
Disgusting. And so, once properly motivated, Rod, Charity, Scott, and Dana, they climbed into their vampiric chariot. Scott's used Buick Skylark.
Yes, take to the skies!
And the four of them began the drive towards Eustis with the express purpose of rescuing Heather on November 24th, 1996. And they were also going to pick up Janine while they were there.
Yeah, absolutely. And if we could stop at the racetrack, I need to get a 59-ouncer. I need to get a solid 59 ounces of Mountain Dew Code Purple inside of me immediately. It's the new Diamond Tap flavored. It's got it. Yeah, that's great.
Well, the plan was that after Heather and Janine were rescued from the dire reality of upper middle-class Florida lake town living, they would all go to New Orleans, where Rod said he knew a voodoo priest named Chicken Man who was all too willing to help out a young vampire clan on the run.
Oh, yes, that young man vampire I've been waiting for. Welcome, come on down in a minute. Yeah, it's me, I'm Chicken Man, nice to meet you. We're going to get you on the fry machine. and then you, vampire number 2, we're going to get you on the tender breading station. And you here, vampire number 3, well, you're pretty enough to be at the cash register.
Now, which one of y'all knows what a po' boy is?
Me, I'm a po' boy. No, I'm talking about the sandwich.
Now, after we close, I changed from Chicken Man to Dickin' Man.
All right.
Rise from your grave.
You ever, just go to the store and you want to get that, just a plain linen shirt? Something to make you feel nice and look nice. It's also expensive. It's crazy. You want quality, and then you go to buy it, and you're like, I can't afford quality. Now, you can afford quality. And you know why? I'm going to tell you the secret. I'm working with these guys. They're really cool. They're called Quints. They want to make you look like a prince. And you know what? I got my crown on, baby. I'm looking good. You want to make your wardrobe pop with some nice, subtle, well-made brands? Go to Quints. Treat yourself right. Get those classic fits and lightweight layers for warm weather. Because it's hot out. And so are you. Keep it classic and cool with long-lasting staples from Quince. Go to quince.com/last for free shipping on your order and 365-day returns. That's QUINCE.com/last to get free shipping and 365-day returns. Quince.com/last. Speaking of horror stories, do you ever feel like there's something spooky going on with your Wi-Fi? Then it's time to check out T-Mobile 5G home internet. With their fast speeds and effortless setup, T-Mobile home internet takes the mystery out of getting online. Just plug it in and you're connected in 15 minutes or less. And you get all that and more at a great price, guaranteed for 5 years. So you don't have to worry about any jump scares on your bill. Get T-Mobile home internet and get online with a simple setup, their fast speeds, and a 5-year price guarantee. Visit t-mobile.com/home internet to check availability. Guarantees monthly prices of fixed wireless 5G internet data. Exclusions like taxes and fees apply. Service delivered via 5G network. Speeds vary due to factor affecting cellular networks. Guarantee exclusions and details at t-mobile.com/home internet.
This podcast is brought to you by Squarespace. Whether you're just starting out or scaling your business, Squarespace is the all-in-one website platform designed to help you stand out and succeed online. And I will not be destroyed by these children that keep purchasing my businesses. Yes, I have lost horsepicks.com. And yes, currently I am in some form of tete-a-tete with Putin's daughter who purchased umupaintings.com. So now I'm a man alone who's decided I'm out of the sales business. Yeah, I'm starting a new website. It's called Henry Zabrowski's Feet.com. And that's because I'm sick of Wikipedia going out there and slandering my good name of my feet. All right? My feet are good. And this is all I have. So you need to support me and Squarespace. Squarespace makes it all possible. It makes the podcast possible. Squarespace gives you everything you need to offer services and get paid. Squarespace domains make it easier to find the best name for your business at one fair, all-inclusive price. No hidden fees or add-ons required. Head to squarespace.com/left for a free trial. When you're ready to launch, use offer code LEFT to save 10% off your first purchase of a website or domain.
Now, on their way down to Florida, the teenage vampires survived on Little Debbie cakes and Dr. Pepper, in addition to each other's blood.
Okay, good.
Yeah. You got, well, I mean, the Little Debbie, that's just, fun.
Yeah, it's to
sugar.
soak up the blood.
It's making the medicine go down.
But no mention whatsoever was made of committing even a small act of violence, much less a double murder. As far as these kids were concerned, they were all just running away to New Orleans. Now, when Rod and his crew finally showed up in Eustis and met up with Heather and Janine, the Florida contingent of Rod's clan found that their expectations did not match up with reality. Firstly, Janine and Heather hadn't seen Rod in nearly a year, and when he last left Eustis, he still had his more, let's say, Axl Rose-like strawberry blonde hair.
Yeah.
Very long, a little more of a pretty boy.
Right, he's trying to take them to the Paradise City.
Yeah,
of course.
But when Rod returned, his hair was dyed black, his nails were painted black, and he was far more of a Marilyn Manson type figure than what at least Janine was prepared to deal with.
That's the turnoff?
That he was,
He changed aesthetic?
Yes, it really was. Like, she's like, I don't know about this.
He wasn't one of the beautiful people.
No. No.
Well, I think Janine had more of an interview with a vampire type of thing going, because from what I heard, from what they said, Rod could actually do the Brad Pitt interview with the vampire voice exceedingly well.
If you hear it in the interview, he's doing it.
Yeah.
He's doing the, I don't know. Like, Brad Pitt is it's a specific inflection.
Do we start, I was born, I grew up, I was at a plantation.
You're more. If that's more. Brad Pitt was a legendary Broadway matron. Yeah.
It's been a long time since I've seen it, so I was just trying to.
Like, let me tell you this. These are my Brad Pitt hands. Brad Pitt hands.
Don't forget to eat something while you're doing it.
Oh yeah.
Now, it must be said that this was still a year and a half before Columbine.
Yes.
So goth kids were not necessarily seen as potentially deadly figures just yet. I think Rod just kind of looked like shit, and the girls didn't like it.
Well, yeah, that's what I discovered. That was like the problem with being an endomorph and trying to switch over to a goth-like lifestyle as a teenager. It doesn't fit. You have to look the part.
Yeah.
Have it look good. When you're not born for the goth clothes.
Well, Rod was born for the goth clothes, to be fair.
Apparently not.
But it was the hair. He had frizzy hair, and it was black, and it was massive, and it looked like shit.
I saw it before. He didn't look any worse than fucking... Technically, he looked no worse than... what's his name from Danzig? He looked no worse than Danzig.
You know, he fucking reeked.
Ugh.
Yeah.
On his fucking beauty. You know, they didn't have a time to stop and shower. They
Girls
were
kind of
just-
like that at this time period, though.
Oh, they were sleeping in the car.
Yeah.
Or on the side of the road. They camped.
Yeah.
But while Janine was finding her expectations weren't being met with Rod, Heather was discovering that Scott Anderson, a.k.a. Nosferatu, was not anywhere near the person that Rod had described when he had given Heather over to be Scott's so-called dark mate.
Is that code for fat?
Always.
He actually wasn't a fat kid. He was around my size.
He's just ugly.
He was just ugly.
Oh, that's sad.
Yeah.
Yeah. You don't even have an excuse to being fat.
Yeah.
Rod had told Heather that Scott was something like a cross between an action hero and an immortal warrior. But Heather was highly disappointed to discover that Scott was just a dorky 16-year-old with frizzy black hair, thick black glasses, and absolutely zero charisma. The kid even wore a fucking cape.
That's just so you know that I'm a vampire. Well, it's a pleasure to meet you, my bride-to-be. It's been a wonderful... The travel has been a bit hard on my stomach and on my evacuative system. As you can see, my constantly leaking. But I cannot wait till our wedding night.
Do you have some Dramamine?
Please, for the love of God. I'm filled with liquid shit. Oh, wow. I can see all their reactions. It's always just that. Oh, wow.
Hi, you're Scott.
Yes, I am.
So you're Scott. That's
Yes, I am Scott.
Does everyone in Kentucky look like you?
Yeah, pretty much. Yeah. Most bigger.
Rod, can I talk to you over here for a second? So you told me that he was kind of like an action hero, like sort of like an
What's she saying?
Scott, it's okay. Scott, just give me a second, okay? Just give me a second, my dark lord. No, you said that Scott was like an action hero.
Does she like me?
He's changed a lot.
Yeah, no, he's changed a lot because
He looked different when we left town.
I got a new shirt.
I don't know if I want to go now.
We went to Buc-ee's. It's his whole personality now.
No, at this point, I think that Heather was just a little too wrapped up in the fantasy to back out. And I think she wanted to see just how far she could take this little rebellion. So when Rod told her and Janine that they had to all get on the road to Louisiana as soon as possible because the cops were after them, Heather agreed to go. But before Heather left, she decided to break some of her earthly bonds. And I think this little mini saga shows just how frivolous all of this really was before Rod Ferrell took it to the next level. See, despite being Scott's dark mate, Heather actually had a boyfriend in Eustis, a regular kid named Jeremy.
Can I just be your white mate? I don't care about splitting.
So she called him up to tell him that she was going to leave Florida because Rod had threatened to kill her parents if she didn't. And this wasn't true either. It was just an extension of Heather's fantasy. But Jeremy was an ordinary fucking person, and he had grown quite tired of hearing Heather talk about crystals and magic and how she was actually a reincarnated demon.
So you're going to move to New Orleans to be a vampire with your vampire clan? That's what you're going to do? Yeah. Oh no. Oh no, you better stay. I don't know what I'll do without you.
It's pretty much how it went. He weekly tried talking to her. It's just like, don't go. This sounds stupid. Fine. Who fucking go?
Honestly,
who cares? Go.
I won't be the one to hold you back. Go and be a bat. I don't care. I hope you are a vampire.
Yeah. Well, and that really, it does show you how silly all of this is.
Of course.
If someone is planning to kill their parents, they don't call their boyfriend to break up with them first.
Yes.
Well, so just remember that, they are, yes, we think that 16-year-olds should probably be higher functioning than this, but they aren't in this case. So on some level...
Not really. I mean, I think they're acting exactly how 16-year-olds act.
That's what I mean in terms of like this 16-year-old. She's acting appropriately shallow about this because she doesn't really understand that Rod is... But what the weird thing is, the more and more she says this in... not jest, but like in fantasy, the more Rod's like, oh, this fantasy can't pop.
Yeah.
Because if the fantasy pops, it's all gone.
Yeah.
They leave, everybody leaves me. Now I'm just here with my hair looks like shit. Obviously I look like shit.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? I'm not supposed to be a goth. I'm supposed to dress like John Mellencamp. And now I'm stuck like this now, so it has to work.
Jeremy was just like, oh, good. I just wanted to ask Francis out on a date
Anything
anyway.
else? He was so sick of the whole vibe changing.
Yeah. And so, after breaking up with her boyfriend, Heather wrote a short farewell to her parents and her sister, saying that even though she loved them all very much, she was leaving for good because Janine was running away and needed someone to look after her. Besides being another lie, Heather's letter does not sound in any way like the words of a girl who's planning on having her parents killed. Honestly, it reads more like the overly dramatic and ultimately unserious suicide note that Lydia writes in Beetlejuice.
I am alone. I am utterly alone.
Man, kids are so fucking stupid.
The kids, like especially 16-year-olds, they got no
They
clue.
ruin everything.
Yeah.
Hey, but what would I give to feel those emotions again? Just hard as hell for my math teacher. Now when I get hard for a math teacher, everybody calls the police.
And so, after Heather quickly packed her things and stole $50 from her dad's wallet, she slunk out of her house and joined the rest of Rod's clan in Scott's Buick, ready to begin her new life as a New Orleans vampire. But tragically, the story of the Kentucky teenage vampire clan would not have been newsworthy at all if not for one small thing. In her haste to pack, Heather had left behind a trinket of some kind that was extremely important to her, so she insisted that she needed to go back and get it. But after much discussion, it was decided that Rod and Scott would go back to get it, lest Heather get caught by her parents.
Do you know what the trinket was?
It's never been named. Like I saw it in like one documentary, and I saw it in one of the books that we read. But they just said like she left something behind, like a trinket or like something.
Dude, what if it's one of those Wovlovs like you saw on the stream, and she's like, I ain't seen its egg. I ain't seen if it's got 2 or 1.
Oh my God, my Tamagotchi. What if I don't feed it?
I gotta go. I got to go. I'm a mother.
Now, going back for something was stupid for a lot of reasons.
Yes.
And it was even stupider to send Rod and Scott back.
Yes.
But just as Rod and Scott were getting out of the car, Rod almost casually asked Heather, hey, you want me to kill your parents? She said, no, of course not. Just go get the thing and come back. That's all I need you to do. Don't kill my parents. I could not be more clear in saying don't kill my parents.
I want to be wearing fishnet with a hand grenade on Bourbon Street this time tomorrow. Let's go. Come on, dang it.
She was right.
Yeah, and Rod said, sounds like somebody wants me to kill their parents.
Well, if I'm reading between the lines, which I know I am, because one thing about a dude is that he's always correct.
Yeah, it's like when a chick says, like, I don't want anything for Christmas, but, like, they really want something for Christmas.
Every time. I heated up. Okay, so we had 4 pieces of pizza left in the refrigerator the other day. We had 2 regular pieces, 2 mushroom pizza. What do I know? Natalie's favorite pizza is the mushroom pizza.
Yes.
She said to me, hey, I was like, I'm making food. I'll heat up the pizza for you, and you can have it. She's like, don't worry about it. I can handle it myself. And guess what I did? Insisted that I knew what she wanted. I heated up the 2 pieces of mushroom. I brought it to her. See, look how great your husband is. She's like, wrong pizza, idiot. That's the wrong fucking pizza. You're wrong again. She didn't say idiot. Obviously, she's very nice. She
should have. Yeah, obviously,
but it's like even me being nice, I was wrong.
Yep.
Entirely.
Dude, well, she told you very clearly she didn't want the pizza.
I was trying to be fucking nice and try to anticipate my wife's needs.
But she told you what she needed.
Instead, you just wasted a bunch of pizza.
I'm just having a trap. I can't. Why are my boners illegal?
Vampire.
But for reasons that are still unclear, I think...
That's a sad vampire, by the way.
But for reasons that are still unclear, I think even to Rod himself, he had decided in that moment that he was indeed going to kill Heather's parents, whether she wanted it to happen or not. So Rod took off on foot back towards Heather's home as Scott Anderson, a.k.a. Nosferatu, followed close behind.
I'll be right back, my bride. Do not be too lonely without me.
I shall return to your house, and I, as the night will do, be sure to obtain the treasure which my fair lady has left behind.
Get the fuck out of the car, Scott. It's Nosferatu. Your fucking name, Scott.
Nosferatu Anderson. Now, Rod and Scott arrived at Heather's home at around 9 p.m., fully intending to break in. But when they found the garage door unlocked, they simply walked inside. So, again, gotta give this PSA, always lock your doors no matter what.
I hate it.
Do you think the Wendorfs expected a couple of teenage vampires to break into their house and kill them? No.
Especially not because vampires are supposed to have permission.
That's right.
Oh, yeah, so they really weren't vampires.
Exactly. Oh, they're about to break a lot of rules.
Yeah. Already.
Now, we don't know if Rod told Scott on the way to the house that they were going to kill Heather's parents or if he waited until they arrived. But once they were inside the garage, Rod said that it was going to be Scott's job to take out the mom, while Rod would take care of Heather's father.
I don't really understand. I'm already betrothed to my beloved. I don't want to take out her mother. I don't understand.
Nosferatu, if you want your dark mate to truly be your dark mate and be your dark mate, you want that forever, then you must free her from her earthly bonds and free her mother's soul from this world.
Through the legal system, through the court system, get her released.
What happens if she tries to kiss me?
Should I kiss her back? I think maybe I should kiss her back.
Just kill her parents first.
Now, neither one of them brought weapons, but the average American garage is full of implements that are suitable for a brutal murder. Incredibly, though, Rod passed over a machete, an axe, and a chainsaw.
Too dumb.
As he later said, those weapons would have been, quote, too messy.
Oh, sure.
So Rod chose a simple crowbar as his instrument of death that night.
Clean as hell.
Yeah, this is going to make it look like an accident.
Likewise, Scott chose a similar blunt instrument, a wooden club. But I think their choice of weapons says a couple of things. First, I think it says that these kids did not have an inborn appetite for the sort of blood and guts that they've been talking shit about for a year. Because it really does take a rare type to truly revel in gore from the very beginning. Second, I think that Rod's choice of a crowbar bolsters his claim that this was absolutely a spur-of-the-moment decision, and that it had far more to do with Rod being an overly angry sociopath than with him believing he was a vampire. If this was a vampire decision, something involving role play, then I think it's obvious that he would have made it a part of his lore, and he would have put far more planning into the act, because what else was going to make his vampire character more real than actually killing someone?
My belief is that it was spur of the moment, but it was something he was waiting for some window of opportunity to do.
The right moment.
Because he knew none of them, let's just say, I'm going to make a conjecture, that none of them were 100% sold that New Orleans was going to work out, right? That they were going to get in that car, and it seemed like a fun idea for a while, and I'm certain they're like, well, we'll see how far we get, and we'll go, and like, I could see it being like a thing, and I think that Rod, even more than just like obviously the need to kill and the want to kill, I do believe he viewed this as a way of, this makes it permanent. Now we can't come back. Now we have to go, and they all belong to me. She has to come with me now because I've killed her family.
Yeah.
I think if there was like even one half a snafu, none of this happens.
Yeah.
But it just kind of worked out perfectly for him to just like do it.
Technically, I think the first leaving point was the first moment. You know what I mean? Like, I bet you when they're all first together, he's sitting there charging himself up. Maybe I'll go kill her parents now. And then they're like, all right, let's get in the car and go. And then I bet you it missed it in that moment, and we would have maybe had, if she didn't have to go back.
That's exactly what I said.
Yes.
Is that if she hadn't have forgotten that one little thing, they would have just driven off, and it would have just been another. It wouldn't have been newsworthy.
He might have killed a drifter or something. Seriously,
I don't know. Or Rod may have killed somebody later on, like in some sort of like meth fueled argument. But they definitely wouldn't have. There definitely wouldn't have been this story.
I think if he ever got into a real fight, he would definitely got his ass beat.
He did. Yeah, Stephen Murphy beat the shit out of him.
Yeah.
Remember? Fucking took him up by his throat, like, bam, 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 beat his fucking ass.
Yeah.
Remember? Yeah. He got beat up every single time. But the thing is about him, like, making it real, murdering someone, that's actually what made it real.
Yes.
And that was the problem.
Oh, yes.
Now, once Rod and Scott were inside the house, Rod cut the phone cord and whispered an order to Scott to go check out the main bedroom for Heather's mother, Ruth. But in the end, cutting the phone line was entirely unnecessary.
Ain't no one calling.
Yeah, they just saw that in a movie.
So even though Rod had volunteered for the seemingly harder target of Heather's father, Richard Wendorf had done the stereotypical dad thing that night by falling asleep on the couch before 9 p.m. So he was out cold in the living room when Rod found him. As such, the 49-year-old Richard Wendorf never stood a chance against the 16-year-old Rod. And once Scott returned from searching the bedroom, having found no one, Rod finally took someone's life after talking about it for so long. As Scott Anderson stood and watched, Rod smashed Richard's face with the crowbar more than 20 times, using enough force to send bone fragments flying into the adjoining room. By the end of it, Richard's head was, in the words of author Aphrodite Jones, hamburger meat.
Hi, I'm sorry, I didn't mean to step in the middle of this murder scene. It's me, investigative reporter Aphrodite Jones. I want to ask you one question. Is that 90% lean?
Now, some might say that it's a bit insensitive to say that this is hamburger meat on this man's face, but if you want to
I will say, will ground chicken suffice? I saw a picture of Aphrodite Jones. Hot woman.
Really attractive.
Oh, yeah. Hot woman. Right in the wheelhouse.
Wow.
Right in the MILF category.
And if you're going to call yourself Aphrodite, you have to be attractive.
No, you could be big and awful. That's also just as off, like, totally acceptable.
It could go either way, really.
Yeah.
I'm proud of her.
Yeah.
Yeah, I am too. Aphrodite Jones.
She's now filing a restraining order.
Good. It shows you love me.
Now, by the time Rod was done with Richard's face, it had been bashed so thoroughly that, according to the county coroner, a woman with the curious name of Dr. Laura Hare, Richard was entirely unidentifiable.
Hello, my name's Dr. Hare. I don't even know if this is a person. Is this ground chicken or 90% lean hamburger meat?
Let me call my friend Dr. Teeth.
But once Rod was done with the face, he took the crowbar and used the sharp tip to stab it through Richard's chest. Because in the end, I suppose Rod did have quite the thirst for blood once he got a taste for it. He turned this scene into an absolute bloodbath. Scott Anderson, meanwhile, continued to stare in silent disbelief. Now, this was either a large house or Ruth Wendorf had terrible hearing because she'd been in the kitchen making herself a cup of coffee this entire time.
I just think it's the power of let's just say, a spouse to ignore what's happening in the other room.
Yeah, a broken percolator, a shitty microwave. You never know.
Yeah, they've got like two teenage kids, like noises from the other room.
Feel
like you're
nothing,
you are focused on that cup of coffee, and that cup of coffee is going to solve all of your problems.
You better.
Now, once Rod had killed Richard Wendorf, though, he and Scott wandered the house looking for Ruth. After they found her standing in the kitchen with a fresh cup of coffee, Ruth was highly confused at the sight of a blood-covered teenager with a crowbar, because all Ruth managed to ask was if Rod and Scott were Heather's friends. Who are you? But when Rod told her to shut up while advancing towards her, Ruth went into full survival mode. She threw the hot cup of coffee on Rod and sent him to the floor in pain.
It must be holy coffee.
Is he still like playing? Is he still think he's a vampire?
No, they're
here?
not good, man. They're just not good at it.
At this point, I think they've dropped the vampire thing, and he's in murder fantasy mode.
Yeah.
And once he was on the ground, Ruth started scratching at him with her nails. Scott, meanwhile, still just stood there, saying absolutely nothing, as if he'd wandered into someone else's dream. But Rod was still a fairly strong 16-year-old boy, so he managed to get up and kick Ruth Wendorf in the chest. She was knocked to the ground, and once she was down, Scott rained the crowbar down into her face 16 times, beating the skull so hard that he left a 3-inch wide indentation where the brain had been cut all the way through. By the time Rod was done, he used either the tip of the crowbar or the claw to partially decapitate Heather's mother. Through it all, Scott Anderson had done absolutely nothing, and he still stood there dumbfounded as Rod stood over Ruth Wendorf's body, breathing heavily.
God, man, he's just like, I have made some incorrect choices.
I should have picked up that Prometheus Unbound game.
Now, the first thing Rod did after killing Ruth Wendorf was pose a question to Scott as to what they should do with the bodies. Having no idea what he was supposed to say, Scott mumbled that maybe they could throw them in the pool.
No one will find them there.
Yeah, bodies go in pools.
Yeah, he had no, like, Scott's just sort of, he's just mumbling, I don't know, whatever you want. Put him in the pool. Like, he's blank.
He's a ghost at this point.
Yeah. Eventually, though, Rod and Scott decided it was better to just ransack the house for money and valuables and leave. But while Scott was searching for cash and jewelry in utter shock, Rod lit a cigarette and used the ember to burn a V for vampire in the chest of Richard Wendorf's corpse.
Wouldn't it be for Visago?
You know what? It probably is for Visago.
It's probably for
I didn't
Visago.
think
It
about
better
that.
be.
I immediately thought V for vampire, but it's probably V for Visago.
He's
yeah.
Visago.
He's Visago.
That's
yeah.
his calling card.
You're right, Henry. You are fucking correct.
I know dickheads through and through.
But while that's incredibly embarrassing, perhaps the dumbest part of this whole saga is that even though these two kids had spent all this time talking about being vampires, neither one of them even attempted to drink the blood of the people Rod had just killed.
Just unfucking believable.
Didn't
Just
even
save
mention
some
it.
for later. Yeah, nothing. Even scoop in your hands.
But I think this again tells you this had nothing to do with vampire role-playing and everything to do with Rod Ferrell taking advantage of a moment.
Also, old people blood is grosser.
It is grosser,
It is
yeah.
thinner, yeah. It's all the thinners. It's the blood thinners.
Now, once Rod and Scott left the house, they lamely wrote the number 666 in dust on the garage door.
That didn't fuck with Scott's allergies?
Actually, now that you say that, I guess that is why I thought I was feeling emotions. No, I am having an allergic reaction to the garage.
I'll take an extra Claret and everything should be fine.
People say that they don't give a lot of attention to dust mite allergies, but dust mite allergies they could be quite serious if you don't
Silent killer.
They then stole Richard's brand new Ford Explorer and drove it to a gas station to get cleaned up because they were covered in blood. Once there, they took off their blood-covered clothes and hosed each other off in what I think is the loneliest gas station in Florida.
Nothing like a couple of naked teenage vampires washing each other in the full light of the afternoon.
It's 9 p.m. It's 9 p.m.
Sorry,
It's night. It's night.
That's how annoying they are. They're covered in blood, washing themselves off in front of everyone, and no one cares to ask.
They're like, just get done already.
They then doused their clothes in gas before carrying them out to the woods to burn all of the bloody evidence, save the crowbar, which was hosed off as well and taken with them.
I'm so surprised they didn't light themselves on fire.
I really wish they would have. Then, presumably wearing just their underwear, Rod and Scott drove Richard Wendorf's Ford Explorer back to the spot where the rest of the clan was still waiting in Scott's Buick Skylark.
You're new to car ownership. Have you driven in your underwear yet?
Dude, yeah, I'm not new to car ownership. I've been driving since I was 12.
But I mean, you didn't have a car for a long time. But I'm saying, have you driven in a car since in new modern iteration currently?
Oh, I mean, when
have
I
you
was
driven in your underwear since being a man?
When I was a teenager, I did it.
Do it now. I did it the other day. I had to fucking move the car. Right? Just in my underwear, man.
Damn, I feel like I would have to go further than I needed to be.
Yeah, dude. It's powerful, man.
I bet it is.
Drive in your underwear, man. Just a hat.
All right, I'll try it.
Are you allowed to drive naked?
No.
Really?
They get angry.
Even though you're technically inside
No,
your own
because
thing?
it's nothing but windows.
I think you can. I think it's because people can see in from up top,
Then I got a
or
convertible.
from down below.
Yeah.
Yeah, you're not supposed to drive naked.
On the Next Door app, someone like filmed somebody jerking off in their car, but then everyone got really mad. Like it was the biggest like fight I've ever seen because like half of the people were like you filmed him without his permission. And the other half
He's
was,
jerking off in the car.
But like me in my head, I'm like I scratch my nuts all the time. I bet it looks like I'm jerking off.
Well, are you doing it and smiling while looking at your phone?
Yeah.
Yeah, well.
For 10 minutes.
Yeah. My nuts are huge. It takes a while to cover the
Sometimes you got to pinch and roll.
Now, Rod and Scott knew full well that Heather likely wouldn't enjoy what they'd just done. So they made the decision to tell Dana and Charity that Rod had committed the murders as soon as they could. But they were going to hold off on telling Heather until she was, quote-unquote, ready. But when Rod and Scott pulled up in Heather's dad's car wearing just their underwear, she very quickly realized that they had probably, at the very least, hurt her parents. Rod, however, refused to tell her what happened at all. He instead told her, quote,
I'm your parents now.
So stupid.
So dumb. So fucking,
now.
I'm your parents now.
Your plural parents?
Yes.
You fucking idiot.
I'm mommy. I'm daddy. I'm also Uncle Rod.
Scott's, well, who am I?
You're baby. You're the little baby. You.
I'm a vampire.
Now, the plan was to pick up Heather first, then head over to the home of Rod's other Florida vampire paramour, Janine LeClaire, so they could pick her up as well before going to New Orleans. But when the clan showed up at Janine's house, Janine, she wasn't packed, nor was she even mentally prepared to go anywhere. Janine was in her pajamas.
What, this is real?
Nah. Yeah.
Literally.
No.
Like,
It really
I
was.
didn't know you guys were actually going to do this.
From what it seems like, she was still thinking that everything was just pretend.
Yeah, because it was
Yeah.
until like 3 hours ago.
Yeah, but even though she said that she could be ready to go in 20 minutes, Rod declared that they couldn't wait, because I think that Rod sussed out what Janine's real plan was when she began to stall for time. See, as soon as the vampire clan left Janine's house, Janine told her mother all about Heather's plan to run away to Louisiana with these kids from Kentucky who all believed they were vampires, which I'm sure was a shock to hear.
Almost she was like, if I heard it once, I've heard it 95 times.
Kids never change.
You know, I met your father, a fledgling warlock. He told me if you looked at my crystal ball, I'll show you the future. And when next thing I know, he was nutting inside of me, and my future was carrying you, child.
Yeah, that story deserves no ice in this drink.
But when Janine's mother drove over to the Wendorf house to check on Heather after getting no answer on the phone, she was even more shocked to find that the place was already crawling with police officers because Heather's older sister had very quickly discovered the mutilated bodies of her parents. Now, as we've said, one of the reasons why we're covering this story so extensively is because of how terrible of a job the media did back then and how badly of a job documentary filmmakers are still doing with this story today. See, the errors that the media made and the falsehoods they published concerning this story, they began almost immediately following the discovery of the bodies, and each error or lie only begat more errors and lies. For example, it was reported almost immediately that Janine LeClaire had been taken in for questioning and that gunpowder residue was found on her hands, even though Janine was the one who'd sounded the alarm and no gun was even used in the commission of the crime.
Well, she masturbates with bullets.
Yes, it's different.
Yeah.
That's
Which
because
in
she
Eustis,
loves her.
Florida is a crime.
Yes. Because that's rape on a gun.
Guns have rights. Guns are people.
That's right. Did this gun consent?
Seems to be jammed.
In my vagina! Yeah, it's called a holster.
Well, before long, the local police had leaked the full story as they understood it to the press. And that's very important, as they understood it. That story was that Heather Wendorf had murdered her parents and run off with a so-called vampire coven. The press, of course, ate it up because it finally seemed to confirm the satanic panic fairy tale that they'd been trying to push for years. As a result, Oprah and Barbara Walters were calling the LeClaire family for interviews about Janine's involvement in this satanic vampire cult. And the media attention quickly caused Janine LeClaire to have a total mental breakdown that got her hospitalized for a period of time. Now, seriously, I mean, think about this for a second. 3 days ago, Janine LeClaire was playing vampire with her friend Heather and some kid from Kentucky. That's Thursday.
Yeah.
Monday, Oprah is calling you.
It's fucking crazy.
Yeah,
man.
dude, because that bitch loves vampires. She's still obsessed with that stuff. She's got people, you guys, she's classy now, but she's got 5 little people dressed as Hitler in a fucking closet somewhere waiting to be released.
They really do come for the victims whenever shit happens, man.
Hard.
It's insane.
They really do.
I
Very much so.
remember
They're ghouls. The press are ghouls.
This happened at my house. I don't think I've ever told this story before. The Gainesville Ripper.
Yeah.
Remember him?
Danny Rowling.
That one of the people he killed, last name Larson, from my town, they weren't in the phone book. We were. We woke up fucking press on my lawn.
Holy shit.
But I woke up, I was like 7, something like that. I don't remember the exact
How do you
age.
feel when you saw your sister get her tits cut off? Dude, like it's just something like, tell me, so when her tits were, did you know your sister's tits were cut off?
My mother went fucking crazy on them. She was throwing shit at them. She's like, "You leave that family alone. You're all fucking." I think she called them vampire. Like, it was intense, man. That's great. It was fucking. I was so proud of her.
Wow. I guess that was probably a formative experience for you.
It really was really cool. I thought that was like the first time. Like, my mom's fucking cool.
Well, let's get back to Rod and his clan immediately after they left Janine's house. Once the vampire convoy of Heather's dad's Ford Explorer and Scott Anderson's Buick Skylark got clear of Eustis, they all pulled over to the side of the road. Rod announced that they were ditching the Buick, so Dana...
So stupid, because the other one's the missing vehicle. They should have kept the vehicle nobody knew.
Well, they'd switched the license plates between the Buick and the Ford Explorer.
It doesn't matter, it's a Ford Explorer, it's still the fucking car.
Yes.
It worked.
Ah.
It totally worked.
Everyone's moron.
Are you telling me the middle of Central Florida cops, they couldn't pull this off?
Yeah, I know.
They got stopped like twice, and nobody said anything. But once he said, "We got to switch the cars," Dana, who had packed 7 bags, was ordered to leave half of her stuff behind.
Oh no, what am I going to wear for Mardi Gras? Oh no, but about bone tones. I thought we were going to have some bone tones.
It's like Spaceballs.
She doesn't look Jewish.
Yeah. Just as Dana was choosing which outfit she couldn't live without, Heather began saying that they couldn't take the Explorer because her parents were going to kill her if they couldn't find their new car.
Yeah.
Now, Scott and Rod had already told Charity and Dana what they'd done at some point that night, probably while Heather was trying to convince Janine to run away with them to New Orleans.
So listen, we killed the parents just so you ever keep it quiet.
Yes, absolutely. I would love a McFlurry.
Well, Charity, she had been struggling with keeping this information from Heather for hours. So finally, when Heather started yammering on about, "Oh, my parents are going to kill me if they don't get the car back," Charity said,
To put it bluntly, your parents are dead.
Yeah. Yeah. She
Like
said,
dead tired?
Yeah.
I know my daddy works hard and my mama needs to retire.
He likes sleeping on the couch.
no, dead. No, I mean, and Heather was stunned. She told Charity, "Stop messing around." But Charity was like, "No, seriously, like, Rod killed your parents. I know he lies about killing people all the time, but I think this time he really did do it."
What a gossip.
Yeah. Keep it to yourself, Charity.
Charity.
Well, I was thinking about this, why they believed him. I think the only reason why they did believe him this time is because Scott was like, "Yeah, he killed them."
Oh, I think
like,
that the
he
vibe
definitely-
changed.
Yeah.
And Scott's probably a fucking ghost,
Yo!
too.
Yeah.
Absolutely. And so Heather crammed herself into her dead father's Ford Explorer in a nearly catatonic state with the other 4 pretend vampires.
Vampires.
They continued on until they finally pulled off the highway and slept overnight somewhere near Tallahassee. Once rested, they woke up and visited the hallowed vampiric feeding ground that was the Tallahassee Walmart.
That's where I got my DVDs at midnight, dude.
Smoking bongs in my fucking car. Don't know where I am, dude.
Yeah, man. There's a Taco Bell out front.
Yeah, dude.
Yeah. Man, you ever fucking seen Taxi Driver? No, it's 1 a.m. Time to go to Walmart Supercenter and buy that DVD.
Yeah, fucker. God, I miss being young and filled with life.
And there they procured vampiric sustenance in the form of Doritos and more Little Debbies.
Yes, I love my Debbie when she's little and filled with cream.
And once the crew got to Alabama, Heather was doing quite poorly. She'd found her father's pocket knife in the car, and during a stop, she actually tried to use it to stab Scott Anderson. Not only for being involved in the murder of her parents, but also, presumably, for being such a massive disappointment.
Rule for dominate. Put the knife down. Rule for dominate. Put the knife down.
Well, the longer that Heather was around her so-called dark mate, the more she realized that Scott Anderson was incredibly stupid, and that he was, in the end, just some dork who was playing dress-up.
Yes, exactly.
Yes, that's what they're all supposed to be.
But Heather was still somewhat in the fantasy, because after Scott wrestled the pocket knife away, Charity told Heather, "You're probably just grumpy because you need to feed." So Charity cut her arm with the razor blade and held the wound to Heather, who lapped up the blood and, quote, felt a bit better.
Oh, these poor dorks and idiots.
Well, they're just going back. They keep, you can see at this moment, they're just going back and forth between, like,
It's a childlike
what the fuck's
need
going on.
for stability.
But then also, like, okay, let's stick to the fantasy.
Because the fantasy, again, makes it feel non-real.
Yeah,
we're back in the non-real.
Just hoping they're going to wake up from a dream and some shit. You know, it's all became very real very fast.
Oh, we all know that. We've all had like a weird thing happen that's actually sort of like your worst nightmare, and you're watching it unfold in front of you, and it's completely real, and you wonder if you'll wake up or not.
Yeah.
Yep.
I've been to jail.
Rise from your grave.
When was the last time money stressed you out, made you feel guilty, jealous? Money can make us feel a lot of things, but what if it made you feel hopeful? Get more out of your money and start building a better future with Acorns. Normally, I would tell you to get all of your money out of a bank, buy gold, and bury it in a field, because that's the only way money's going to matter when the grids go down. But Acorns is the financial wellness app that helps you invest for your future, save for tomorrow, and spend smarter today. Acorns makes it easy to start doing more with your money. A lot like me, where I want to put my money in a big pile and burn it so I can smell the smoke and get high on George Washington's blood. But you don't need to be a finance whiz to understand Acorns. Acorns puts your money into an expert-built portfolio to make sure you're investing wisely, not wildly, and it's an easy-to-use app. Sign up now and Acorns will boost your new account with $5 bonus investment. Join the over 14 million all-time customers who have already saved and invested over $25 billion with Acorns. Head to acorns.com/left or download the Acorns app to get started. Paid non-client endorsement. Compensation provides incentive to positively promote Acorns. Tier 2 compensation provided. Investing involves risk. Acorns Advisors, LLC, an SEC-registered investment advisor. View important disclosures at acorns.com/left. Hey, Eddie.
What?
You know what doesn't belong in your epic summer plans?
What doesn't belong in my epic summer plans?
Getting burned by your old wireless bill.
Oh my gosh, it burns me all the time.
I know, it's like, hello.
Oh, so hot.
While you're planning beach trips, barbecues, and 3-day weekends, your wireless bill should be the last thing holding you back.
Well, what should be holding me back?
Probably, I would say you got problems with, you have acid reflux.
Yeah.
You got some problems consuming dairy.
I can barely swim.
You are afraid of loud noises.
I hate loud noises.
You're afraid of being outside.
Fuck you.
But otherwise,
Sorry.
but otherwise, you're good to go. And that's why you got to make the switch to Mint Mobile.
So fresh.
Yep. With Mint, you can get the coverage and speed you're used to, but for way less money. And for limited time, Mint Mobile is offering 3 months of unlimited premium wireless service for $15 a month. So while your friends are sweating over data coverages and surprising charges, you'll be chilling. Literally and financially. And this year, skip breaking a sweat and breaking the bank. Get this new customer offer and your 3-month unlimited wireless plan for just $15 a month at mintmobile.com/LPOTL. That's mintmobile.com/LPOTL. Upfront payment of $45 required, equivalent to $15 a month. Limited time new customer offer for first 3 month only. Speeds may slow above 35 gigabytes on unlimited plan. Taxes and fees extra. See Mint Mobile for details. You ever picked a vacation spot based on where you don't need a phrase book? Yeah, it's called My Home. With Babbel, the language barrier no longer has to hold you back. Start speaking a new language with confidence, thanks to Babbel's conversation-based technique that quickly teaches you to use useful words and phrases about the things you actually talk about in the real world, like guillotines. There's over a dozen languages available to learn at your own pace, so you can achieve your goals with material tailored to your individual proficiency level, interests, and time availability. You ever been with this guy? He's going, where's your daughter? Where's your wife? Where's your daughter? Where's your wife? And you're like, sir, please leave me alone. And they go, donde está su esposa? Donde está su niña? And you're like, whoa, I think I know that Spanish. Thanks, Babbel, because you learned it. Because of Babbel. Go check it out. It's easy to do. It's on your computer. It's on your phone. It's not like you gotta go some other place. It's right there in front of you. You can just go get it. Better. Because if you don't, I'm coming for you. Learn another language. Babbel is gifting our listeners 55% off subscriptions at babbel.com/left. Get up to 55% off at babbel.com/left. That's spelled BABBEL.com/left. Babbel.com/left. Rules and restrictions may apply.
Now, as far as what the group talked about on their road trip, Rod took the opportunity to monologue about New Orleans, how the witch doctors and voodoo queens of the city would set them all up with housing, where they'd interact with ghosts and werewolves, who all had respect for Rod and his vampiric family.
You remember those werewolves who we met at Parker Boys? Parkway Boys. I believe it was
Parkway
called
Boys.
Parkway Boys when we got those Trupo Boys. Yummy.
God
Nah,
damn.
12 inches, all full of sick.
Well, from what it seems like, Rod was expanding his lore in real time.
Of course.
Saying that he'd lived in New Orleans for centuries in the past. I suppose between 15th century France and Murray, Kentucky. That's in the time between he was in New Orleans. He just kind of added that on.
Definitely. He was there when it was the swamp.
Yeah. Basically, Rod was still playing the game, and he even gave his group somewhat of a mission. He warned his clan that when they got to New Orleans, they were going to have to pass through a powerful werewolf clan's territory that encircled the territory controlled by his vampiric family in New Orleans.
No one in this entire ride once yelled the word "shut up."
No, because now he's a murderer. The thing is, now he's a murderer.
Well, I mean, it's starting to wear off. The luster of the vampire lifestyle is starting to wear off by this point. The murder, it's too much of a shock.
Yeah.
Like someone actually died, and everyone just sort of gave Rod like a, yeah, sounds great, Visago.
It's not great. It's very terrifying. We're about to enter into war with the werewolves.
Yeah, Rod, just tell me when we get to, or Visago, tell me when we get to the fucking werewolves and we'll take care of it.
Before we get to New Orleans, I have to go pick up some dark chocolate. It is the werewolf's ultimate weapon. Silver, yes, that's folklore. Dark chocolate. That'll kill a werewolf in 12 hours.
No, it took Rod and his vampire clan 4 days to make it from Eustis, Florida to Louisiana.
9-hour drive.
That's
Literally, it's just 9-hour drive.
Dude, that
That's
is
crazy.
teenagers being idiots.
Yeah. But on November 28th, they finally arrived in New Orleans.
I want some gravy.
But while one might think that the environs of America's greatest goth city would invigorate the group, that's actually where the veil began to slip.
Ah, yes.
See, as I said, the murder had sort of shocked everyone out of their fantasy, and they were all very suddenly aware that they were just a bunch of kids with nowhere to go. They were dirty, they were tired, and there wasn't an ounce of romance to anything they were doing. And not only that, New Orleans is an intimidating fucking city.
Yeah,
like
it
I
is.
went to New Orleans for the first time as like a full-grown adult in my late 30s, and I was like, this place is like, there's like, I gotta, like, you feel like you're entering into another world, but it feels like you gotta treat this place with respect, but it's a very intimidating place.
You have to keep your head on a GD swivel in New Orleans. And it's not a
It's not that it's dangerous.
No,
it's just
in
more
the
like
90s it was.
Oh, yeah.
In
In
the 90s it was
96.
very scary.
But
Yeah.
unfortunately, it is definitely a city like most of the United States of America that takes money
Yes.
to do things inside
Oh
of.
my God! When you're a kid and you go on vacation with your friends and you got no money, nothing's sadder.
Dude, me and my
Oh,
buddies
you're
when
just
we were
walking
20,
around somewhere cool and you
Oh.
can't afford anything.
Yep.
me and my buddies when we were 20, we drove to Vegas and we just walked around.
Yeah.
It was just like us, like. We found airplane bottles of liquor. Just drank those.
Well, eventually, the group began talking amongst themselves when Rod wasn't around. And Charity told the rest of the crew, and I don't know if this is true or not, but it the very least tells you that the cracks are starting to form. She told the rest of the crew that Rod had pretty much kidnapped her before the trip by threatening to knock her out with a baseball bat if she didn't go with him to Florida willingly.
She's like, "Oh, I need to start
Lying.
I need to start getting. I'm not a part of this."
Yeah. She's starting to separate herself from the whole fucking thing in small ways. Now, since the $50 they'd stolen from Heather's father had long since gone to gas, Doritos, and Little Debbie's,
Should have got some Big Debbie's.
Rod led his vampire clan in a burglary in New Orleans, which, hell of a gamble.
Yeah. Oh, yeah, buddy. Especially the way they did it.
Well, the house appeared to be vacant, but they did find hot dogs, bread, mustard, and juice, which sustained their vampiric forms for a little while longer.
They stole food from homeless people.
Yeah, but more importantly, and this is, man, they were very lucky that these people weren't home. Rod also found a bow and arrow and a shotgun.
People in New Orleans don't fuck around. They kill you old school. They'll kill you with a trident. You'd be like, where the fuck did you get an old cannon from?
My grandpappy had this cannon since 1631.
Oh, they go. Oh, cannonball in the hole.
Well, after getting the shotgun, from that point forward, Rod would ride in the Ford Explorer with the weapon in his lap. He'd brag, if any fucking cops try to arrest me, I'm gonna blast them with this fucking shotgun. Just fucking try me.
Great, Fasago.
Yeah. Once armed, the clan headed into New Orleans proper, where they invaded the famous St. Louis cemetery to perform an incredibly long and incredibly goofy blood ritual to mark the beginning of their new vampiric lives in what is undoubtedly the true vampire capital of America.
Legitimately, that's the closest thing that they've done to something almost vaguely cool once. You know what I mean? Like in this whole
break into St. Louis cemetery at night to do a ritual.
That is the closest thing that they've done to remotely being vampire-like.
It almost makes it all worth it.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Well, once they arrived at St. Louis Cemetery, the clan performed the so-called ritual of walking,
I believe it's written by Phil Collins.
in which Rod and Scott wandered the outer boundaries of the cemetery, then crossed through it to form the shape of a pentagram. If we were going to actually do a pentagram, I believe that I must walk at a 45-degree angle. You're walking at a, believe, a 90-degree angle, which is not correct.
I think that we need to get out of here soon. I see some people watching us from the shanties.
I've only done the star. We still need the circle.
Then Rod stood at the cemetery's main gate, and this is one of my favorite details of this whole story. He stood at the cemetery's main gate and flapped around his black trench coat to give himself the shape of a dark angel. Because Rod claimed that all of his coat flapping would beckon wandering demons.
It's like when you were hanging out with those kids and they would just go stare off into the nothing to pretend like they were introspective.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah. Very much so. But he had to do something.
Yeah. Now, they had arrived in New Orleans on Thanksgiving Day. So after cutting his hand and smearing an upside-down cross on the cemetery's gate, Rod recited Thanksgiving to the ancient Mesopotamian god of the moon.
Thank you for cornbread. Thank you for cranberry sauce. Thank you for giblets. Thank you for my mama's gravy.
This is a Thanksgiving to Nana Suin, which he had decided was their god of evil.
Oh, sure, yeah.
And once he set the mood, Rod led his coven in an absurdly long ritual in which they offered fresh blood to the so-called horned one, and read from the entirely fictional Necronomicon, which Rod had purchased from the evil bookstore that was Walden Books.
Yes, a bookstore chain so vile, so derogatory to the Spirit of God, that it had to be put in Westfields only. Yes, Walden Books. The most forbidden of places to get the Necronomicon, a mass-produced fake book. I remember when I first bought my first Necronomicon, I thought I was so fucking dark.
Of course, and not knowing at all that it's a complete work of fiction.
I thought it was so dark.
Yeah.
I thought my soul was damned to hell.
I did love Walden Books. I mean, it's where I first read Fangoria.
Of
It's where I
course.
found a lot. Walden Books was my when I was a kid. It was my favorite place.
I
that
love
and,
my book
that and
first.
Hastings.
Yeah, I always go to Barnes & Noble in our town. And we always get, we get our Frappuccinos, and then they'd yell at us to leave.
That's nice.
I didn't read.
Now, once the news of the Vampire Clan murders went national, just about everybody in both Murray, Kentucky and Eustis, Florida came forward with stories about Rod Ferrell and the various members of his inner circle.
We hate him. Kill him.
Yeah.
All right.
Now, you'd think these stories would show investigators how goofy these kids really were. But the tales the other teenagers told only served to frighten the powers that be even more. For example, one kid in Kentucky who'd been friends with Rod said that Rod had once asked him if he had ever, quote, partaketh in the nectar? Meaning, had he ever drank blood?
Oh my God, he must be thousands of years old. That's Shakespeare talk.
Partaketh. Have you ever heard that word being used?
I saw it once it was in an old English themed pornography film. And it said, will you partaketh of my dong?
And additionally, this kid claimed that Rod would actually transform into a vampire.
Yeah.
But when the kid was pressed on what that transformation entailed, the friend admitted that Rod would just put on black clothes and paint his fingernails in order to transform into a vampire.
Who knew that these tools of the devil were so easily accessible by makeup stores? I cannot believe.
Quick, call the local mall and have them close down Claire's.
Have them close down that sultry home of the devil, the delta of Satan.
Do not pierce my ears with wood.
It hurts.
If there's a Gadzooks also open, have them close it down as well.
And if there's a Zaxby's, could you stop by and get me a bucket?
Hello, thank you for, I would like to take a job application at Sbarro's. There's no garlic here, right?
But while Rod's friend in Kentucky was just a harmless goth trying to tell the truth, it was the ordinary fucking people in Florida, namely the other teenage girls from Heather Wendorf's school, who ended up being most harmful in their fake testimonies.
No way.
Yeah. One young girl told investigators that the 15-year-old Heather Wendorf had actually, do you know Heather hired a hitman to kill her parents?
Yeah.
That's what she told me. She told me she hired a hitman.
Oh, yeah, definitely. Kids know how to do that.
Yeah.
Especially in Eustis, Florida.
Very much so.
Well, I don't know, man. If there's anywhere that a 15-year-old could find and hire a hitman, it's a Florida lake town.
It's not a hitman. It's not a hitman. Okay? A hitman is John Wick. This is literally some guy who'll just do it to fuck a 15-year-old girl.
Yep. Another girl went into great detail about how Heather told me she's been plotting to murder her parents. Like, she's been thinking about it, for a while.
For a while.
Wow.
She said something like, I hate my parents, and my dad doesn't get me.
Yeah.
Many times.
Yet another girl with the coincidental name of Amber Blood.
Period blood.
She had a massive satanic narrative all her own. She said that she was going to kill, I've known Heather for 2 years. We talk on the phone all the time. And Heather said that she was going to have her parents killed, by this vampire because their parents, loved her sister more than her, and her sister's a fucking cheerleader and she sucks, and Heather was a vampire and she didn't like it, so she's gonna have her parents killed. And the cops were like, yep, tell me more.
I knew
tell me
that.
more.
Yeah, of course. I like her sister better as well.
Yeah, they got completely wrapped up in this teenage gossip, girl gossip. These cops.
The cops thought they were in the movie, man.
Yeah.
Well, did you ever see that there is a movie based on all this?
Oh,
ever
is
seen
there really?
Vampire Clan?
No.
I started watching it.
Is it not great?
Pretty bad.
It's on Tubi. I love Tubi. Don't get me wrong. I love Tubi. Love it. But the Vampire Clan, this film, let's just say it really changes what they look like.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah,
According to
they're
what they look-
attractive in this?
They're wildly attractive.
See, why make them ugly?
No, they can't. Because they don't understand that if Vampire Clan was real, it'd be done with the cast of Gummo.
I want to see, yeah, exactly. I want to see the Harmony Korine version of this.
Very much so.
You know, I don't think you know this, Eddie, that there aren't any unattractive actors or actresses, because if you're not attractive, then you're not talented.
Exactly.
That's unfortunate. That's why they had to get Charlize Theron. That's why they had to ugly her up to play Eileen Wuornos.
Every
Because
time.
there's no unattractive people that are actually talented.
No, there's only one fat guy ever. And then the Penguin had to have a full fucking $15,000 bodysuit put on him to look like me.
Because, again,
Yes.
unattractive people are not talented.
Get it? I'm too cheap.
Yeah. Now, all of the evidence. Now, all of the evidence that the cops had, from the note Heather had left saying goodbye to her parents to the testimony of Janine Leclerc, all of it pointed towards Heather having nothing to do with her parents' double murder. But to these shithead investigators whose brains were poisoned by satanic panic propaganda, and they'd been waiting for something to happen in their town for so long, the story that made more sense to them was that Heather was a member of a satanic vampire cult who'd manipulated the cult's leader into killing her parents for the devil.
Eustace needs a redo.
Yeah.
Like, Eustace needs a full-on DNA change.
It's so crazy how people always jump to the most insane conclusion rather than just like common sense.
Yeah.
Very similar to the messages inside weapons.
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, I mean, that really is what people want. They want to be a part of the story. They want it to be like that. They
It
want
gives them something, too.
Yeah, yeah. But they get to be a part of the story all these stories that they see. It's the American brain. It's just primed to want to be a part of a narrative. So investigators listened to the testimony of these girls with all seriousness, without even checking to see if any of them even knew Heather.
That's really interesting. Now, what are you available Friday night?
Yeah, you know, I think so. Probably.
Well,
Let
me tell. What day is it? How old are you?
I'm like 19.
Yeah, I like that. And I like that.
As it turned out, none of these girls knew Heather at all, much less knew her well enough to be let in on murder plots. And so, hatred towards Heather Wendorf and Eustace reached a fever pitch because of these statements. And media outlets actually reported that Heather had performed occult rituals to have her parents killed. That narrative persisted in the media for months, and it only began to die down when the aforementioned Amber Blood failed a lie detector test about the claims she'd made. She was forced to admit that even though she'd claimed to have been Heather's friend for 2 years, she had never even talked to her.
Yeah. No one remembers that shit, though. They just remember that Heather's a witch.
Of course.
done.
Yeah.
Now, let's return to Rod and his clan back in New Orleans. See, Rod Ferrell had talked a big game about how there were literally hundreds of vampires from his personal vampiric family who were waiting in New Orleans to welcome them.
Especially vampires from Eustace. Yeah. They can't wait.
But in reality, Rod had never even been to New Orleans, as far as I can tell. And he didn't know a single fucking person there. Definitely didn't know a fucking voodoo priest named Chicken Man.
You could pay somebody to act like Chicken Man in New Orleans.
Didn't have any money to pay nobody in New Orleans to be Chicken Man.
There's a whole thing, it's called lip money, is what I used to call it.
How about Rooster Boy?
Yeah.
So, presumably after telling his clan that his vampiric family had to move because of the fucking werewolves or something, Rod directed the vampire clan to go to Baton Rouge.
Lower the stites.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Just
Yeah.
it's the Baton Rouge group.
Yeah. But once Rod's clan arrived in Baton Rouge on November 27th, they were tired, scared, and most importantly, completely out of money. So Charity suggested that they call her mother in Rapid City, South Dakota to wire them some money, which was an incredibly stupid move for a number of reasons.
Very much so.
See, even though Charity's mother didn't live in Murray, Kentucky, or Eustis, Florida, she still worked at the local county sheriff's department in Rapid City. So she was well aware that her daughter was wanted for questioning in a double murder in Florida. So when Charity called and told her mother that she and her friends were on their way to a Howard Johnson's in Baton Rouge, the mother agreed to wire money to the Hojos. But as soon as she got off the phone, Charity's mother began working with the police to get these kids caught as soon as possible. Now, Rod was a fool, but he wasn't a total moron. so he was against even calling Charity's mother in the first place. I do think, though, that Rod knew at this point that the game was reaching its conclusion. So if he put up a bit of a fight about calling someone's parents, he could at the very least surrender with some dignity. But as it went, when the vampire clan pulled up to the Baton Rouge Hojo's at 9:30 p.m. on November 28th, Rod Ferrell did not blast the cops with the shotgun they'd found in the abandoned house when the Ford Explorer was quickly surrounded by officers.
Van Helsing's private police have found us.
He probably didn't even know how to use it.
No.
Oh no, are these these cops werewolves?
Oh my God, let's check. Let's check. Third period blood on him.
Instead, Rod put down the shotgun that he'd been holding on to for days and meekly surrendered to the police alongside the rest of his vampire clan. And later, Rod would say that he gave himself up so weakly because he realized in that moment that he didn't want, quote, the idiots who followed him, his words, not mine.
It should be yours.
He didn't want them to die. But really, I think Rod Ferrell just didn't want to die. And he knew that he could keep this game going if he moved to the next phase of his life, which was inmate.
Yes, now he's in jail, Visago.
Now, whether it was because he wanted to be famous or because he was scared, Rod gave the cops a full confession that very night. He gave them the names of everyone involved, he described the murders in excruciating detail, and he even took them on a moment-by-moment retelling of the road trip that the clan took after their escape.
Well, it's because his goal was to keep kayfabe.
Yeah.
His goal was to keep telling people that he was a vampire. And so he keeps it going to this day.
No, he's done.
Well, the last interview I saw with him, he still talks about surrendering himself to a demon, that he was working. The story's advanced.
Yeah. Well, but today, I mean, we'll get to how he talks about it today. But yeah, he holds on to a little bit of it. But yeah, the kayfabe is definitely long since gone away.
Well, yeah, it's because you find out really quick inside how much respect the fellow inmates have for vampires.
Yeah. Rod was actually surprisingly truthful when it came to the murders. He said that Scott was little more than an accessory who hadn't been able to bring himself to participate in the killings, and the other kids in the clan had absolutely nothing to do with it. He could have very well thrown everyone under the bus and taken them all with him, but no, he actually told the truth, and the evidence backs up that truth. But once Rod got the murders out of the way, he returned to role-playing and told the cops that these murders were merely a natural extension of the time that Rod had spent being molested by his grandfather during dozens of black masses. But when push came to shove, Rod claimed
Which is what his grandfather did.
Rod claimed that he ultimately committed the murders because he had a death wish. And because past suicide attempts had failed, he was going to commit a crime that would get him convicted as an adult and executed by the state of Florida.
Did he try to kill himself?
Well, he said that he did. He said that he had a couple of suicide attempts in the past that nobody else knew about.
But the one was with Tylenol. There was literally one was with Tylenol. That's what he said. And he's forever trapped as a 15-year-old inside of himself, even as he got older in jail.
Yeah.
The rest of the clan, meanwhile, seemed to not fully comprehend just how much trouble they were in, as their attitude in the police station that night was described as playful. Now, this enraged the public officials who were forced to deal with him, not just because goths refusing to take things seriously is fucking infuriating, but also because investigators had taken every rumor reported by the teenagers of Murray and Eustace as gospel truth.
And they treated them like they were the Manson family.
Yeah. For example, all the shit that Rod and Scott had talked about concerning how many people they'd killed in the past, that was taken seriously. And the cops actually believed that Rod's so-called satanic vampire cult had killed over 40 people.
They want it to be real because then the easy arrest shows how powerful good is over bad.
Oh, yes.
That's what it is.
The good has triumphed over evil.
Good has triumphed over evil, and it's just that easy. And it's just because, it's just that they're idiots.
No.
I bet that if they didn't tell this crazy story, though, the cops would have just beat them senseless.
Yeah, maybe.
Yeah.
Maybe.
Yeah, good news.
Or they would have.
Or they were just gutter punks.
Or one of them would have said something. It was some kind of Asian, and then they could have went and beat up a bunch of different races. Who knows?
Who knows? Well, it seemed like the only person in Eustace who had his head screwed on straight was the actual homicide detective who investigated the murders.
That's the only guy. I like this guy. I like the cut of this guy's jib.
I do too. This is what his take on the whole situation was. And please excuse the extremely loud cicadas and the exceedingly strange bed music used in this clip from one of the documentaries.
But that's how you know it takes place in Florida, them cicadas.
The murders itself, I don't believe was connected with the occult, period. He's just a mean individual that has no remorse. Has nothing to do with vampires. The common sense person knows there is no such thing to start with. But he's just a mean, hard individual.
I like the bed music.
Yeah.
It feels like the end of an anime.
Well, it was something that they had played because that was the scene in the documentary when all the rest of the vampires finally left
Yes.
Murray.
Yes.
And I think they were trying to do something ironic because they were doing some sort of juxtaposition between the vampires hanging out in their shack and the regular kids hanging out at the roller rink.
This
in
documentary
Murray.
This documentary has the British people in it, and British people do this great thing of going into small town America and talking at them with their British accent and just mesmerizing people. And they just show up and
I don't know
they
what
just
it
think
is.
they're all
They crack, like a British accent will crack open the consciousness of a small town American, and they'll tell them anything.
and they're all like just so excited. They're like, "Are you a talking teapot?"
Yeah. Well, no one's ever asked them shit, man.
Yeah. Yeah, but when you got Louis Theroux coming in.
And he's British?
Oh, my God. Those meth heads will tell some stories. Oh, boy. But while he had the right idea, the county sheriff in Eustis had gotten fully wrapped up in the gossip of teenage girls, and he therefore saved the most harsh treatment for Heather Wendorf. See, despite Rod's full and immediate confession to the whole thing, they got all of the facts immediately. The sheriff's department and the media still treated Heather like she was the mastermind who had manipulated Rod into taking the fall for the murders. On the words of teenage girls.
I just think he was sitting there. First of all, he's getting all wrapped up, and then he's just like, "And would you believe Brian's dating Amber?" That's crazy. Amber was just with Tyler at the farm dance last week.
Well, I heard that Tyler's got some problems of his own, because I hear Tyler's got herpes.
I heard that too. I heard he's got it from doing butt stuff.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. I heard. And did you hear that Tyler and Jeannie? Did you hear that they do anal and that Jeannie has to wear? She has to wear a diaper. She has to wear a butt plug. No, it's not a diaper. She has to wear a butt plug all the time because it's so big. Because her butthole's so big. Yeah.
So cool.
Yeah. I just
Let's go
told you.
execute someone for the state.
I just told you a rumor that I heard in high school, and I changed the names.
Oh, no, I remember the state of there was a young lady that was the daughter of one of the teachers, and that was where my diaper story came from.
That's nice. Now, while Heather was polite once she was put in the box, and she tried to answer the questions posed, an investigator at one point, the questions they asked her were so fucking stupid. At one point, one of the investigators mockingly asked her during her interrogation what she liked to drink, adding, quote,
"Was it Coke? Was it Pepsi? Was it blood?"
That was a direct quote. They actually asked a teenage girl that.
People don't be clever. Just get the job done.
Yeah.
They think it's vampires.
Yes.
That's over. Clever's sailed.
Well, that's the other thing, too, is that they think it's vampires. They're in a fucking movie now. Like
They're all in a movie.
They're all in a movie, so the quips come out, the lines come out, like they're on camera. But the consistent story that all of the kids told after their arrest was that they never believed that Rod Ferrell would ever actually kill a person, much less two. And they were still somewhat in disbelief that he'd actually done it after they went on the run. They still were kind of like, "Do you think he really did kill someone?" Like, "Yeah, I think so." But there was, he lied about it so much.
Oh, yeah.
That was not a part of the deal. Now, Rod came very close to getting what he claimed he wanted from the murders. Even though Rod was just 16, the special prosecutor for the case, a guy named Brad King, sought the death penalty for Rod. That prosecutor, by the way, was nicknamed Darth Vader because of his harshness. And he was recently appointed a judge by Florida Governor Ron DeSantis.
Of course.
So he's out there making decisions.
Oh, yeah, as he should be.
Rod, meanwhile, was still finding ways to play the game. After his indictment, he placed a collect call to the Orlando Sentinel and told them that the murders were actually committed by his rival vampire clan in Kentucky, which was led by Rod's sire, Stephen Murphy.
Also, that's a good tip for people in jail. If you're lonely, place your calls to newspapers. They'll pick it up every time.
And you will always answer.
And they'll talk to you. And of course, this sounds stupid. This sounds like, oh, who would ever take this seriously? This only served to rile up the people back in Murray, Kentucky even more. They became so paranoid over the possibility that their small Kentucky town had become an occult hotspot that the sheriff's department was overwhelmed with calls about vampire sightings for years after the murders.
There's a Loch Ness in my pool. Hey there, hey, better come closer. There's a damn Bigfoot in my bedroom. Oh my God, it's the mirror.
Years. I think, okay, Doc, hey, I think that there's a vampire in my house. I think you should send over a cop. And the cops would send people over because the cops were taking it seriously, too.
Because they're stupid. Everybody's fucking stupid.
Yeah. The media, meanwhile, zeroed in on Vampire the Masquerade as the source for everything. They called it a satanic game that turned teenagers into murderers.
It is. Yeah. I can't wait to play it, and hopefully it makes me kill in real life.
Yeah. Yes. Cops, therefore, followed the media's lead and began confiscating Vampire the Masquerade rulebooks because they believed they were grimoires capable of magical mayhem.
Well, they just had to buy more. It only helped them.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah, very much so. And, I mean, mostly what VTM does is it does make a magical spell book. It makes you disappear to women.
I actually feel really bad for the vampire, for the VTM kids in Murray, because they were not like even middle class. These were poor kids.
They just wanted to play their
these
game.
playbooks are fucking expensive.
They really are.
They're so expensive, and these cops are just stealing from them.
Oh, and I actually got emails from people still in the area that talk about this. Like the vampire goth thing is still like a thing there.
Yeah,
and like they walk around and they're like, it's sad for us to get hassled. We're already at the lowest rung.
Give me that fucking can. You keep hitting it, and it's empty.
They're on the lowest societal rung.
Well,
yes.
I talked to a friend of mine a few days ago about this whole thing. He's around our age, and he was very much, he was a goth in 1999, during Columbine. And after Columbine, the way that he put it is that if you were a goth in 1999, you either stopped wearing black altogether or you went even harder, because after Columbine, like being a goth, you could actually frighten people.
Oh, yes, very much so.
It's incredible how much
cops were crawling up your ass.
Yeah.
And if it wasn't for 9/11, they'd still be scary to this day.
Yeah, actually, they did actually get replaced.
And that's why I just want to say, thanks, Saudi Arabia.
Why did we get called to come play your comedy festival?
I don't know, Marcus. I don't know, but I just want to say congrats to all of our friends performing at the Riyadh Comedy Club. They're all doing great. Andrew Santino, Bobby Lee, so many of our favorite friends are there taking money from the guys who orchestrated 9/11.
Have fun, everybody.
Enjoy.
But when it came time to actually prosecute the murders of Ruth and Richard Wendorf, justice was not equally distributed. See, Heather's lawyers took a gamble and had her voluntarily testify to a grand jury. This grand jury was reasonable, and they did not charge Heather with anything. And a second grand jury convened because Brad King tried as hard as he could to put this unfortunate teenage girl in prison. It also failed because Brad King also very much believed the gossip of teenage girls.
Another goddamn life not ruined. Damn it!
These
goddamn destroy her life.
These goddamn prisons ain't filling themselves.
Well, Heather Wendorf, therefore, went free. She now lives a fairly normal life from what I hear. She went through a hard time. I mean, she was released into the custody of her extraordinarily Christian grandmother who, guess what, tried to shoot her with a gun. But
it's almost more dangerous to be with her family.
Far more dangerous to be with the extraordinarily Christians. Or the extraordinarily Christian. Yes, far more dangerous.
Oh, we know.
But yeah, she eventually, she went to art school and just lives a regular life.
Hopefully she got the fuck out of Eustis.
Mm-hmm. Well, she said that if she goes back to Eustis, which she has gone back a couple of times since, like she gets recognized immediately and people look at her like she's Satan.
Yeah.
I would take that power and use it for
You
good.
love it.
Oh, of course.
The other members of the vampire clan, however, were not as lucky. Even though Dana was the only so-called vampire above the age of 18, Scott, Rod, and Charity were all charged as adults for the murder, because under Florida law, complicity to commit murder is the same as committing murder.
Florida loves putting people in prison.
God, they do. By the end of it, Scott Anderson received life in prison. Dana Cooper was sentenced to 17 years for just sitting in the car. And Charity Kesey, just 15 at the time, was sentenced to 10 years for doing the same. Today, Scott Anderson is still in prison, although an appeal got him resentenced to 40 years.
Jesus
meaning
Christ.
He's eligible for release in 2031.
Oh.
He's going to be 51 years old.
Oh,
Damn.
God. He's going to, at least he'll be around for VR.
Dana was released after 13 years in prison in 2011, while Charity served 8 years in prison. She's been free since 2006.
Man. Fuck them.
It
I'm
definitely
sorry.
breaks the vampire
it's just
curse.
Like one of those things. It's just like I hate it. Like they don't deserve it in a weird way, but at the same time, you gotta set a fucking example when it comes to this shit.
The only thing is, you can hope that maybe, even though it's bad and it wasted chunks of their life, that they learned a real solid lesson.
I mean, I don't know. I have more sympathy for these kids.
Yeah, I think they're all moral. I think they got railroaded.
Like I don't think anyone but Rod and Scott should have done prison time.
Oh,
like,
Rod and Scott.
Rod
yes.
and Scott,
Yeah,
absolutely.
yeah. Scott's definitely on the hook.
Oh,
I feel
yes.
bad for the moron girls.
Yeah,
that's who I feel bad for.
They're just hanging out. They were seriously.
They were just in the car.
They were
You're
just
right.
in the car, and afterwards, everyone says like, "Well, they should have gone to the cops." Like, would you? No,
Yeah.
you wouldn't.
They're
You
there with the
wouldn't
other
have.
murder. They're there with the murderers.
You're 15 years old. The guy in the front seat is a shotgun.
Yeah.
You just killed someone. You're probably very scared of him.
Yes. Yes.
You know,
Yes.
even though he is like a dweeb.
Yeah. Yeah.
All right,
yeah.
Dweebs kill all the time. Ask fucking Himmler.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. You think
Robert
Adam
Blake.
Yeah. Adam Lanza.
Oh, yeah. They're all dweebs. Most of them are dweebs. The only Chad murderer you're going to meet very soon, because we're going to introduce you in a couple of weeks.
Yeah. And he truly was. God, what a handsome man.
Handsome man.
As far as Rod Ferrell's sentence went, Rod's team knew how much evidence there was against him. So, in another gamble, Rod pled guilty in an attempt to avoid the death penalty. This being Florida, however, the gambit failed, because if there's one thing that Florida loves more than taking prisoners, it's executing them.
Yeah, string them up.
Yep. Actually, it was light 'em up, because this time Florida was still using the electric chair. Do they still use the electric chair?
I don't know. I probably.
Yeah. Well,
Now I think they just use COVID.
Yeah.
well, at the time, Rod Ferrell soon became the youngest death row inmate in Florida's history. But due to a Supreme Court decision in which it was decided that maybe we shouldn't execute people who were minors when they committed their crimes, Rod's death sentence was reduced to life in prison in November of 2000. But even though all three of us are staunchly against the death penalty for a boatload of reasons, I think I can make an argument against the death penalty here, using Rod Ferrell as an example that might even sway those who believe that death should be punished with death. See, in the first documentary I watched about Rod Ferrell, he was still on death row, and he was looking forward to the electric chair. He was still playing the game, still holding on to the fantasy, and had he been executed, he would have gone to the grave fully believing that he was some sort of a cult badass. But since Rod's death sentence was vacated 25 years ago, he's had time to reflect not only on his crimes, but on who he was when he was a teenager. By the time he gave interviews in later documentaries, all of his illusions had fallen away, and he is now forced to spend a lifetime stewing over the fact that he threw his life away on a teenage obsession with vampires. In fact, that one documentary, he starts off talking about Visago and all of this shit.
The demon lord,
but by the end of it, when he's actually being real, he cries when he talks about the murders. It tortures him day and night, and he has since apologized to the surviving members of the Wendorf family. Additionally, as Henry mentioned earlier, Rod also has to tell his fellow inmates that he's in prison for life because he convinced himself he was a 500-year-old vampire named Visago when he was a teenager.
And the other guys are like, I'm a 500-year-old vampire named Visago. You can't be me.
We need to start adding the stories of these men getting beaten in prison.
Yes.
Yeah. It happens a lot.
Oh, yes.
It happens a lot.
Yeah. And Florida does have the electric chair.
Yeah, very good. I didn't know they still used it. But the point of all this is that killing Rod Ferrell would have given him satisfaction because it would have allowed him to die with the fantasy intact. And this happens with a lot of these guys. Ted Bundy, when we executed him, we gave him a dramatic ending to his story. He was able...
the protests, all the attention.
He got the protests, got the attention. He got his interview with James Dobson, in which he was able to solidify this, this final plea, where he could make himself basically a martyr to pornography.
Yeah, it was pornography and sugar.
Yeah.
Remember the Twinkie defense?
Yeah. Did Ted Bundy also use the Twinkie defense?
That was a part of what he was saying. It's the whole, it's what we put in our bodies.
Yeah.
Ask RFK Jr.
Yeah. Oh, I should.
Yeah.
Probably, yeah. But in other words, execution gives these shitheads an ending they don't deserve. And that's not even to mention how many innocent people we've executed over the years in the pursuit of vengeance. Furthermore, letting these dickheads live and actually talking to them, this gives us insight into what actually happened. It gives them time to talk about it. Because when you have Rod Ferrell admitting, as he did, that he was just an idiot kid back in the 90s, those are his words, I was an idiot kid, it refutes all of the extraordinarily harmful bullshit about the satanic panic that people are still trying to bring back to this day. See, just like there's no such thing as vampires or fucking werewolves, there's no such thing as satanic cults in the way satanic panickers believe them to exist. Instead, time and again, it's usually just a bunch of idiots playing pretend like it was with Rod Ferrell's crew. But if we're looking at who's truly dangerous here, Rod could have just as easily used Christianity as the framework to commit his evil deeds. Because in the end, there have been far more atrocities in this country justified and inspired by the Bible than what's been done in the name of Vampire the Masquerade.
Correcter words could not be said. It's also true. If you want to look for a real fucking vampire cabal, look none other to our elected officials and the people that run gigantic secret-keeping mechanisms involving intelligence operations and stolen children.
Definitely 500 years old.
What are you talking about? Yeah, I just said a thing and then you... okay, that.
I'm talking about it's real now. Unfortunately, Marcus, it's fucking real now. So it's like one of those where it's like, that's the vampires.
But they're not vampires. Like
no,
it's
they're
not
vampires.
It's not vampires. It's not
There's
satanic.
No spiritual.
No, it's not. It's just money. It's all fucking money.
Yeah.
God
really
damn it.
is.
It's all money. It's all billionaires. That's what it is. It's not left. It's not right. It's fucking money. It's
Correct.
shitheads with a lot of money.
Yes. Because they get bored. You know what I say? Send some my way. At patreon.com/podcast. I don't think billionaires should exist. So if you're a billionaire, send us a couple million over on our Patreon.
Yeah.
And then go to @LP on the left for all of your social media needs. I know that you have them. I know that you need social media. I know it's the only way you can feel happiness. So go and see us there. Or join us on the truly most pure website, YouTube. Go to someplace underneath LPN Romantasy, LPN TV. No dogs in space in the Foreign Report. Go check it out.
That's right. And don't forget, HGX2 is coming back. We're filming the fuck out of this thing. It's a lot of fun. Got some great guest stars. These fellas are showing up at some point.
Fuck yeah.
You're going to fucking love it. And then come see us on the road. September 20th, we're in St. Paul, Minnesota. October 11th, Milwaukee, Wisconsin. October 25th, Oakland, California. November 29th, Cleveland, Ohio. December 12th and 13th, Portland, Oregon. And stay tuned for more shows, you fuckers.
Yes.
Yeah.
Hail Satan.
Hail
Seriously,
Dean.
you honestly give him a shot.
A hail VTM.
Yeah, hail VTM.
Yeah.
Yes.
LPN RPG coming your way very soon. Fueled by the power of Vampire the Masquerade.
Whoa!
I can't wait till people see. I have an idea for what I'm going to do already that I'm pretty solid.
Oh, yeah. I can't wait to be the prince of the night.
You'll see.
Maybe you can go fuck yourself.
No! I'm destroyed.
Hi, I'm Angie Hicks, co-founder of Angie. When you use Angie for your home projects, you know all your jobs will be done well. From roof repair to emergency plumbing and more, done well. So the next time you have a home project, leave it to the pros. Get started at Angie.com.
What does possibility mean to you?
That's a hard question.
Something that you can strive for.
That I'm able to do anything I set my mind to.
You're confident in yourself and you believe in yourself. Stuff that you could achieve.
I feel excited. Anything is possible when you're more confident.
Shoes are a huge part of that. They are the most important part of my style.
You can express yourself.
In the right shoes, anything is possible.
DSW, countless shoes at brag-worthy prices. Imagine the possibilities.